Hi, my name is Jake, and I am a bookish drummer. So today's video is going to be me talking about my August TBR, all of the books that I want to try to get to in the month of August. Normally for my videos, I like to try to sit and record facing the camera, but for this video, I'm going to be a little informal, and this way I don't have to do as much editing, because this is going to come a little bit later than I normally want it to. So we're going to go ahead and experiment a little bit here, and I'm going to talk about all of the books that I plan on reading in August. And these are the main books, and I do have one more pre-order that's coming in the middle of August. I'll get to that. And then I have an audiobook, which I don't have a physical copy of, that I'll talk about at the end of the video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So let's go ahead and talk about the book that I've already read in the month of August, and that would be Stephen King's brand new book, Billy Summers. At the time of recording, this came out yesterday, and I've already finished it. I spent all day reading this, and I had a blast. I had a lot of fun with this book. It's not a top-tier Stephen King book, but I do think that I'm going to put it in my top 30, maybe top 25, maybe. I'll have to look at my rankings specifically and see where I rank this. But overall, I did very much enjoy this. I don't want to say too much because I want to film a proper review for it, and I'm going to try to have that up on Friday. That's the plan. I was going to try to film today, but it's pretty cloudy and it's pretty rainy, and it's just not a very good day to film, so I'm doing this instead. But anyway, Billy Summers was just a fantastic book, and I read it, like I said, I read it in a day, and I just had so much fun with it. The next book that I want to get to is A Veil of Spears, and this is kind of carryover from last month. I read about half of the book last month, and I didn't get a chance to finish it, and I'm almost done with it, so I'll probably finish it in the next couple of days or so. This is the third book in the Song of Shattered Sand series by Bradley P. Bulio, and it's one of my all-time favorite fantasy series. And the first two books are 5 stars. And this book, I would say it's not quite as good as the first two, but I'm still loving it, and I love this series. The next priority for me is a reread of one of my all-time favorite fantasy books, City of Stairs by Robert Jackson Bennett. And this is a trilogy, and I'm going to be reading one book a month. And I set up a buddy read on the Shelf Space Discord for this book, and I'm trying to get one set up for the sequels. And like I said, this is one of my favorite fantasy books that I've read, and I'm very interested in continuing with the series. Another book that I'm prioritizing this month is Theft of Swords by Michael J. Sullivan. It's the first book in the Rhaeria Revelations. I recently just read Michael J. Sullivan's prequel series to this series, Legends of the First Empire, and I loved that series. Now I'm going to jump into his first series, Rhaeria Chronicles, and this is a 6-book series, but it's a 3-book bind-up, so it does look a little big, but it's actually 2 books in one. And the print's pretty big, so it really shouldn't take that long to read. Either way, I am extremely excited for it. Another priority read for me is Nightfall by Daniel Barnett, and it's the first volume in the Nightmareland series. And it's very short, so I guarantee you that I will get to it. And I am very excited for this. I've heard nothing but good things in the various Discords that I'm a part of. And I watched Daniel Barnett talk about Dr. Sleep in a live show, and he is a big Stephen King fan, so props to him for that. And I actually don't really know what this book is about. All I've heard is that people love this book and that I should read it. So I'm pretty much jumping in blind, and I'm hoping that good things will come out of it. And I hope I like it. Another priority read for me would be Valour by John Gwynne, which is the second book in the Faithful and the Fallen series. I almost forgot the name there. I read Malice last month, and it wasn't like an all-time favorite read, but I did enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars. A lot of people say that the second book is a huge improvement on the, well, maybe not a huge improvement, but they say they say it's an improvement on the first book, and that pleases me. And also, the second book has a glossary, which is amazing. The first book did not have a glossary, and there's so many characters and settings, and I was confused for a lot of the book. So hopefully, while I'm reading this book, if I have trouble remembering anyone, I can kind of just jump here and be like, oh yeah, that's who that person is. So I'm very excited for this. I'm interested to see if I'm going to love this book like a lot of people do, or if I'm gonna not enjoy it as much. We'll see. I have high hopes for it. Another book that I don't have yet that I'm very interested in reading is Zoe Stage's new novel, Getaway. And she's one of my favorite horror writers that's working now. You gotta breathe, Jake. She wrote 2 very good horror novels, Baby Teeth and Wonderland. I gave both of those 5 stars, and I want to jump right into Getaway, which is the title of her new horror novel. It doesn't come out till, I think, August 17th, so I won't be getting it till about mid-August in a couple of weeks. But probably, no matter what book I'm reading, I'm probably going to have to put that on pause so I can just jump right into that. I'm very excited for that. And then the last book that I'm really prioritizing in the month of August is Vengeful by V.E. Schwab, which is the sequel to Vicious. Now, I loved Vicious. I know it's a short book, but I still was able to read it in like a 24-hour period. I flew through that book and just loved it. And a lot of people say that the sequel isn't necessarily as good as the first book, but I hear people say good things about this book, so I am very excited to get into it. Now, I don't know if it's a duology or if it's going to end up being a trilogy. I'm not really sure, but either way, I'm still excited for it. And then the rest of these books, I do really want to try to get to, but I'm going to save these for last until I finish all of my priority reads. Luckily, I was able to finish Billy Summers very quickly, and then this book, I have very few pages left. And then, City of Stairs is a reread, and then Nightfall is very short. But then, I got Theft of Swords and Valour, which are pretty chunky books. And then Vengeful is pretty short with very short chapters. So I should be able to not breeze through those books, but I should be able to finish them relatively quickly. But yeah, these books are definitely ones that I want to read after my priority reads. And I think I have them in order from highest priority to lowest priority. Sorry, Stephen King. But one that I have here is The Least of My Scars by Stephen Graham Jones. And I'm very excited for this one because I read 2 of his books last month, The Only Good Indians and Mongrels. And those were, actually, The Only Good Indians was very good, and then Mongrels was okay. This one sounds more up my alley because it's about a serial killer, and I'm sure Stephen Graham Jones is going to put his own spin on, like, the serial killer trope for horror, and I'm sure he's going to do something interesting and intriguing. And luckily for me, it's also very short, so I should definitely be able to get to it, and I'm very excited. I also want to try to get to Fireborn by Rosaria Munda. I've pretty much heard nothing but good things. Even the people that didn't love this book said that they at least liked it, but the majority of people said that they loved this book. So I'm very excited. And actually, I got this book for free at a used bookstore that I used to go to, or still go to, actually. I had a free book coupon, so I got it for free. And I'm assuming it has something to do with dragons. I'm not exactly 100% sure what this book is about. all I know is that people love it. So I'm hoping that I love it as well. Speaking of hyped books, I also got a copy of The Ninth Reign. Now, this book, I've heard a lot of good things about as well, but it's not a huge priority for me this month. If I can get to it, great, but it will probably end up being a September read for me. We'll see. But the way that Elliot Brooks describes it, it just sounds really off the wall and very unique. And I'm really a big fan of reading fantasy books that are like that are unique, that are not kind of like this rehashing the same ideas over and over again like some fantasy used to. We're getting a lot of newer fantasy books nowadays that are exploring new territory, and this one definitely sounds like it's doing that. So I'm really hoping to enjoy this one. And these two books are just kind of like wild card picks. If I can get to them, great. They're both rereads for me, so you know, and they're very short books. So if I do get to them, I know I can read them very quickly. I Am Not a Serial Killer by Dan Wells. This is a 6-part or a 6-book horror series. That's one of my favorite series I've ever read. And I read the books quite a while ago, and I want to reread them. I'm probably going to try to finish rereading the series before October, hopefully. So I want to try to get at least one read in the month of August, and then I'll read probably the rest in September and October. If I can get to the first one, great. If not, I'll just read it in September. But this book is very good. And then I also want to try to get to Carrie. I have not reread this book in a very long time, and it's a top 10 Stephen King book for me. And I'm very interested to see how well it holds up for me. I'm sure I'm still going to love it, but I'm very interested to see how my opinion changes, because, whenever you reread a book, your opinion can, differ slightly. So we'll see exactly how that'll go down. And then the last book I have to talk about, I won't be getting a physical copy of. I'll be listening to it on audiobook, and I think, actually, I don't even remember the title. It's a part of the Fred the Vampire Accountant books. I think it might be called Undeath and Taxes. I think that's the second book. The first book was the utterly uninteresting and unadventurous tales of Fred the Vampire Accountant. And that book was a delight. I really enjoyed that book. I'll talk more about that book in my July wrap up, but I had a really fun time listening to that. And it's narrated, the whole series is narrated by probably my favorite narrator, Kirby Hayborn. I love Kirby Hayborn. And the second book, is obviously narrated by him too, and it will be a continuation from the first book, and that'll probably be something that I throw in at the end of the month. If I ever get burnt out on these books, I can just pop that in on my headphones and just kind of lay down and listen to it and relax. That series just, I have a feeling that series is going to be a new favorite of mine. It's so dumb, but it's so hilarious. It's just this vampire who's an accountant, and he quickly finds out that, like, there's more than vampires. There's these werewolves and these different creatures that he's never really seen before, and he makes a lot of new friends and enemies. It's really dumb, but it's so entertaining, and hopefully I can, get to that second audiobook. It's not very long, and I can just kind of speed it up and get to it pretty quickly. But, other than that, I have these books and one more book. I've got that Zoe Stage book, that pre-order. These are all of the books that I plan on getting to in the month of August. And like I said, I already read Billy Summers. very good. And I'm almost done with Veil of Spears. It's very good so far. And then a few of these books are rereads for me. City of Stairs is a reread. And then these two books, I Am Not a Serial Killer and Carrie, both rereads for me. And then, yeah. And there's actually a lot of books in here that are the first in series, which kind of troubles me because, you know, I really shouldn't be starting more series. I've got Theft of Swords, which, I mean, it's a part of the Rhaeria series, and I've already read Legends of the First Empire, so maybe I could count that as a continuation. But then I got Fireborn and Ninth Reign, and those are just straight up first books. Valour is a continuation, so that's actually a good thing that I'm reading a sequel. Oh yeah, and Nightfall is the first book. I think there's 5 books in this series, but they're all really short, so I don't count that. Well, that's my logic anyway. Oh, and then Vengeful is a sequel, and I'm pretty sure it's the last in the series so far. Whether or not there's a third book I'm unaware of, I don't know, but that's another sequel that I'm reading, so that's I think that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think of this type of video. Like I said, normally I would just try to film, you know, like in front of the camera and just hold up the books for you guys, and I would be on camera, but I'm kind of lazy today, so I just wanted to make a little bit of an informal TBR video. Hopefully you guys like it. If not, please let me know. I kind of like doing it this way. It just gives me a little bit more room to breathe and to like just stand up here and talk about all these books in kind of a more timely fashion. But, you know, you can let me know what you guys think of this type of video. But anyway, I think that's all I have for this video. Let me know if you guys have read any of these books and what you thought of them, or if you're excited to read them like I am. Please let me know down in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching, and have a terrific day. Who's a constant reader who owns a lot of books? It's Bookish Drummer. Should that be my new intro, guys?